Everybody, Boxing Mode coming at you again. I got one of the babies. All the rest of the babies are in shed except for this one. This one's already had 3 sheds. And this is a caramel jungle jag that is absolutely beautiful. This one will be for sale in spring. But let's talk about, people are going to be getting their tax returns soon, right? I've already been contacted by people asking me about snakes for sale. I've been contacted by about 10 different people. There's only 8 snakes. Not all of those are for sale. But I want to caution everyone out there with tax return coming up and Tinley coming up, that be careful right now buying pythons, Morealas in general, green trees, your carpet pythons. I mean, I know it's in other python species, but to me right now, the Nidovirus is hitting the carpet pythons and the green tree pythons industry especially hard. The one thing I will say about this is NPR did address it finally the right way. A lot of these people have been kind of beating around the bush about it and kind of like, well, we don't, finally, the NPR guys came out and said this disease is widespread. It's probably in every single collection. Now, don't be dismayed by that. It is something that you can breed out of your animals, like I've said in the other videos on this. I'm going to keep bringing this topic up because this topic is important. Okay? You have several options. If you have to test your animals. If they test positive, if they're asymptomatic, you can breed them. And even though, and Priest, I talked to, because I found out about this too, so I went ahead and called Dr. Bleem, and I talked to him for about an hour or two today, Priest?
Yeah.
And we had a great conversation on this, and I told him about what was said, and he did some more research and got me back with me, and that's when we talked for so long. And he agrees, it's something that's passed, that goes through the cloaca, so therefore it's on the eggs. And they tested it, the NPR guys talked about it, and he got a hold of some people, I don't know who, I think he called some people at the University of Illinois. But it comes out on the cloaca, but it comes out on the eggs through the cloaca, but it cannot survive outside the host, so that is why the babies are born without it. Okay, now that being said, if you were one of the people to buy this animal from me, okay, I am testing that animal, even though I don't think that my baby will have it. I'm going to test that animal. It cost me $35. I'm not going to charge you to test my animal. That's coming out of me. Now, if you want to go ahead and test your animal when you get it from me, by all means, please do. And say it tests positive, then I not only will refund your money, I will pay for the shipping for that animal to come back to me, and I will retest that animal. And don't listen to the naysayers say, well, there's asymptomatic tests. These tests aren't positive. This is a new disease. No, it's not. This disease has been around since the 90s. There's breeders that I know for a fact have known about this in carpet pythons and Morealas, green trees, it's been in our hobby, in the Moreala hobby, for over 5 years. They knew about it and said nothing. That's okay. It's out now. There's some big breeders out there that have the disease that are keeping their mouth shut. But you know that I know that you have it. There ain't no hiding from it. I'm not going to throw you under the buses, because I'm a positive person. I want to give you the benefit of the doubt that maybe you're going to come out with the right information, be honest and truthful with people, instead of hiding behind your reputation, but I doubt it. So what can you do to protect yourself? Especially with tax return and the Tinley show coming up. It's real simple. If I'm going to buy an animal from someone, I want that animal tested. You should demand that animal to be tested. If that person is not willing to test their animal, then you do not buy the animal. If they are willing to test that animal, okay, you want them to send you the email that proves that this is the animal that was tested, that shows a negative test. Then when you get that animal, the first thing you should do, as soon as you go undo the boxing, is have the test and send the test off that day, so that way you get the results back the next day. Okay, and if that animal tests positive, then that breeder should pay for the shipping of that animal back to you and a refund. Or if they don't want the snake back, they should refund you your money and then, make it your decision to where you either put that snake in a separate snake room and try to give it its full long life, or humanely euthanize it, at their expense. Um, Gone are the days of selling these. What you're going to see right now, because of this disease that's hitting this hobby very hard, and all pythons are subject to this. Gone are the days of breeding loans. I think some people will still do it with testing, but you got to be very careful about who you do breeding loans with. But when you're talking about tax returns and stuff like that, and you're talking about the Tinley show and stuff like that, you're going to see a lot of people with this disease right now. They're going to be putting animals up for sale for cheap, and they're going to come up with 50 different excuses about, oh, well, I'm changing directions. Oh, well, I'm getting out of the hobby, or I'm just trying to downsize my collection. It's all BS excuses. They either have it or they don't want to deal with it, and they're not willing to test their animals, so they're going to dump them onto people. So it is highly important. If you want to buy a snake from anybody, or they want to, or someone contacts you about, hey, I'm willing to sell this to you, demand testing. If they don't want to do testing, run away from them, people. Because we have to be open and honest and transparent. So before any animal leaves my collection, it will be tested. And not only that, I'm testing the parents. So if one of the two parents tests positive, that means both parents will have it now. I will sit there and say, yes, they come from parents that did have this disease, but I tested the babies and the babies don't have it because it's not transferable that way. So you can breed out your collection. It takes time. But you have to sit there, and I'm going to say it again, be transparent. So if you have if it comes from parents that have it, tell the person buying that animal from you that, hey, by the way, they do have Nidovirus, but the babies don't. Here's the test. If they want to buy it from you, great. If they don't, then that's okay too, because it should be about the love and passion. Yes, you want to make some money out of this, don't get me wrong. But your passion should come first. Obviously, I've heard a lot of people say, well, protocols are going to change. Well, protocols have always changed. Protocols are always being updated. There's the bleach clean, there's the F10 clean, there's all this. Protocols are a mess, yes. But the first line of defense is to test your animals. Second line is that make sure your protocols are up to date. You're using gloves to clean cages, you're changing them. You're not cross-contaminating. Say you have a snake that don't want to eat this rat. It bit it, but it don't want it, so you throw it to the garbage disposal. Don't do that, because what if that snake has it? So you don't want to transfer it through saliva that way. So you just have to really use good husbandry practices. And I'm not going to sit there and berate everybody about how good husbandry practices, because if you've done your research and done your studying, you know what it takes to do it. But if you're looking to get into carpet pythons or green tree pythons, pythons in general, make sure these people are testing these animals for the Nidovirus, because there's no excuse not to test. It's $35. $25 to do the test, $35 to ship it. So there's absolutely zero excuse to have these animals tested. So I'm just trying to get the information out there. I'm trying to warn you guys out there to protect yourselves. Demand testing from anybody you're buying a snake from, a python. Demand it. If they're not willing to do it, then you do not buy from that, because that is the only way these big breeders, these supposed respected people that are leaders of this industry, that have let us down, because some of them, like I said, have known about the disease and said nothing. Others didn't. There are other breeders out there that know a lot of people that have this disease, and they're not letting it out. There's breeders out there that have the disease and they're not saying anything. So it's, these leaders of this industry need to step up and lead by example and start testing. There's guys like Mike. There's guys like Pinnell. There's several guys that are doing the right things and testing their animals and showing and sharing and being transparent. And David Moore's another one that's being transparent. He's had several animals test positive. But there's one other guy. There's only 4 guys in the carpet python community that have come out and said, yes, I had the Nidovirus. That's it. When we know the disease is way more widespread than that, and that is sad. So test your animals. And if you're going to Tinley, don't buy a carpet python from somebody. And I know that's going to tick a lot of the carpet python world off. And you know what? I don't care. Because I would rather protect the people that want to get into this hobby cleanly. If they are bringing animals to Tinley and they're not showing that these animals have been tested, don't buy a snake from them. A carpet python or a green tree python. Make these breeders test their animals. If they want, it would cost me $35 if I want to go to Tinley, or if I want to test 8 baby snakes. That's the cost of one cell of one snake. So I can have them all tested before Tinley. I could take them up to Tinley, and I could say, okay, here's my carpet pythons for sale. Here's the test for each one. Here's the email results for negative, negative, negative. So if you're going to Tinley, be cautious about who and where you buy from, because some of the top breeders have the disease and they're not letting it out. So demand that these breeders bring proof that their snakes are negative for Nidovirus. And together we can get through this, folks. I'm sorry that I'm being so dark about this. I know I'm beating it harsh on it. I just don't want to see people getting these wonderful snakes and then wondering why their snakes getting a respiratory and dying. It breaks my heart to see that happen to somebody. I don't want that to happen to somebody. So I'm trying to protect you. And if that makes me the bad guy in the carpet python world, then guess what? I'll be the bad guy. I'll be that guy. Because I want everyone to protect themselves. So if you have carpet pythons, test your carpet python. VetDNA.com. I'll leave a link in the description again. It costs $35. If any breeder that's watching this, if you're selling any green tree pythons or carpet pythons, test them. Stop being, it ain't me. Test. And if you test positive for it, be honest with everybody. I know with me, with my testing, I'm going to be straight up with anybody. If I got it, I got it. If I don't, I don't. But I will definitely tell everybody exactly what's going on with me. Transparency is key. So I'm sorry this isn't one of them upbeat, positive videos. I'm just trying to protect you guys out there. So, thank you for listening to this rant. I'm sorry it's not my positiveness that I try. I am positive. I am in a good mood. Don't get me wrong. But I just had to stress the importance of this, because this is something that we can get through as a community, but it takes us together. It takes us being open and honest and upfront, and stop being scared of ruining our reputations. Who cares about our reputations by saying we got the disease? I'd rather someone sit there and say I haven't and are honest with me and are open with me than lie to me. Be open with each other. Share the information. And together we can get through with this. So thank you guys so much for watching my video. And I promise you, any snake you buy from me will be tested. And you will know what you're getting from me. There was no BS with this guy. I'm as real as it gets. So thank you guys so much for listening to this rant. Thank you for listening to me. Hopefully you take this information and understand what I'm trying to convey to you. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. This is Boxing Boa. One of the snakes that will be for sale this spring. My son, Priest. We're just trying to protect the hobby. Don't you agree, buddy?
Yeah. It's not a good thing, but we can get through it.
Amen, brother. Amen, son. Alright, so you guys have a positive day, a blessed day. I am. Take my message to heart. Demand testing. Peace.